You have some presentation to be shown or just talk?
I have a PPT which I will bring on. Is there some introduction or something?
Yeah. So before that, I thought I should check with you whether it is there or not. Fine. So I think participants are joining in, and we are also streaming it live on our YouTube channel. So many of them would be joining over there also.
Okay.
So shall we start, sir? It's on time.
You tell me when you're ready.
Yes. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the webinar on Living with a Purpose, to be addressed by Mr. Achal Rangaswamy. And I would request Mr. Francis Lobo, who is our AMA in-house faculty and supporting all our activities and a freelance trainer, to introduce formally Mr. Achal Rangaswamy on behalf of AMA. Then we will have presentation from Achal sir for 40-45 minutes, followed by 10 minutes or 15 minutes Q&A if time permits through chat box. Participants, I request you all during the program, please switch off your video and please keep your mics on mute. Whatever questions, any suggestions, any problem, put it in the chat box, which we will respond to you. Over to Francis, sir.
Thank you, Radhika. In fact, sir, it's my pleasure, honor, and privilege to introduce you to this august audience. Well, friends, today on this particular webinar and talk by Mr. Achal Rangaswamy, let me give a brief introduction about himself. Mr. Achal Rangaswamy is a postgraduate from Delhi University and an alumnus of the prestigious St. Stephen's College. Well, over the number of years of service in the corporate world that he has, the organizations that he has worked with and grown are Xerox, Usha International, Amtrex, Hitachi. He grew from GM to the post of President, Marketing and Business Development in the organization Bell Ceramic. This tenure was the longest of 18 years and very close to his heart. Sir is an avid reader, a sports enthusiast, and he is an avid biker, having traveled 250,000 and plus kilometers on his Enfield Bullet. An author of 3 books, Time is Money, Beyond the Uncharted Landscape, and The Joy of Selling. This is not all. Ahmedabad Management Association has honored him with the AMA Zydus Cadila Marketing Man of the Year Award, and he has trained more than 15,000 people. Well, all those who have undertaken his training love to call him a coach. Well, he stays connected with all the people through his Rangaism, a series of thought-provoking quotations and questions that he addresses on a daily basis to the young minds. This, for you, audience, is Mr. Achal Rangaswamy. Sir, over to you to take forward the topic and your talk. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Francis. Great to see you guys. I've been missing meeting you guys on a one-on-one, face-to-face basis. I'm missing the AMA, the dal vada and poha and the chai, and hopefully one of these days I'll make it. You know, COVID has kept us away from each other for some time, but hopefully not for long. I miss my morning breakfast classes with everyone, and hopefully soon we will launch a series of them with a vengeance. Thanks for the very warm introduction. And what I'm going to do is, as Radhika has already explained, talk for about 40 or 45 minutes. At that time, I'll turn my video off. I'm not very good to look at, but I probably sound a little better. So what I'll do is I'll switch off the camera, bring my PPT on. You will have to give me the rights to share my PowerPoint presentation, and we will get cracking. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope the screen is visible to you all. And should you have any queries, should you have anything to say, please put it in the chat box. The admin are having a close look at it. As I said, I'll talk till about 6:30, 6:35, 6:40 max, so that we can have a good interaction. I've always believed in listening to people. You know, I wonder whether you know, I'm the unofficial audition master for Indian Idols 19. Well, the simple thing is nobody knows when Indian Idol 19 is going to take place. And unofficial because I selected myself. They didn't select me. Which really means that I enjoy listening as an audition master rather than speaking. This knows that Rangaswamy likes his own voice. No, he doesn't. He likes to listen to people. So please feel free to interact at the end of this presentation. A very different subject. Most people associate me with sales, marketing, time management, leadership kind of programs. But this one is with a difference. Actually, for those of you who are not aware, this program is a rerun of a very successful talk that I delivered about 3.5 years back. It was precisely on my birthday, 10th December 2016. Mr. Nair coaxed me to take that particular date and I didn't want to. But then my wife said, look, it's such a wonderful occasion on your 60th birthday evening. You're going to talk about living with a purpose. So I couldn't, I had a wonderful day. I couldn't think of a more apt day and we had a full house. It was great fun. This is a rerun, but obviously with new thoughts, new ideas, new concepts, new learnings. So welcome to this program. And ladies and gentlemen, what does life mean to you? What do we mean when we say, what is the purpose of your life? For the next 30 seconds, I'm going to ask you to think. I'm going to ask you to introspect as I ask this question and put a blank board in front of you. Now, this board is for you to fill up in your own words at the end of the program. But even as we begin talking to each other, my request is to think, to introspect. What am I here on earth for? What am I wanting to do in life? They say, in a very simple manner, easier said than done, that the purpose of life is to lead a life of purpose. But that doesn't help a lot, does it? People become even more confused. What does life mean to you? What is the purpose of your life? Don't worry, this blank board will be there for you to fill up. Maybe you have a piece of paper in front of you, maybe you have a small notebook, or maybe on your phone, after we've finished, you could probably write down. And maybe you would like to share it with me. Relax, I keep secrets. I can keep things confidential. The Dalai Lama has famously said that we know that everyone who's born has to die. But the important thing is that while we are alive, we should make our lives meaningful. Most people celebrate or observe or ritualize two things: the day you are born and the day you die. In between, there are days, but then people tend to not think much about them and moments disappear. In fact, the question that I wanted to ask you right at the beginning was, if there are 3-second moments in your day, imagine how many moments you can have in a day, in a week, in a month, or in a year, or in a life. Well, there are millions of moments. Are you enjoying those moments? Are you treasuring those moments? Are you cherishing those moments? Are you packing a lot of things into those moments? Or otherwise, a lot of people on their deathbed only say, मैंने कुछ नहीं किया. मैं इस दुनिया में अजनबी आया और अजनबी जा रहा हूँ. Famous words of a famous man whose death probably signaled the death of an empire. Pardon me, I'm a student of history, so I tend to get carried away on occasions. But without those colorful balloons, what is life? So what the Dalai Lama says triggers off a thought process and makes me want to share with you the three keys to energizing your work and your life. Because if your work and your life are energized, and if they combine beautifully, everybody talks about work-life balance. All that, as far as I'm concerned, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, is nonsense. What do we mean by work-life balance? They both seamlessly float into each other, and that's what life is all about. Life is about enjoying a series of moments, and in that process, if you're able to finish off some work, well, nothing like it. A lot of people tell me, I'm rushing against time. And that's when I'm tempted to ask, why are you rushing against time? Well, we'll look at that a little later. Now, when we look at the three keys, I'm going to give you a little idea about each of these aspects and look at some research that's been done in the last few days. One has been talking to people and asking about what they mean by, first of all, meaning to life. 20% of people that one spends time with say that they spend a lot of their life doing meaningful work. Excellent. 20% of people spoken to felt that they spend a lot of their time doing meaningful work. So life has a meaning. We'll go into details of what we mean by meaning. The second aspect is about interaction. We interact. We interact with our family. We interact with our spouse, our parents, our children, our neighbors, members of our society, our community, members of the organization we work in or run. 16% of people had extremely positive interactions when interviewed. And the third, what is it that gives you meaning? What is it that gives you phenomenal interactions? Is energy. And energy is about creating energy, conserving energy, using energy, and so much so that you sometimes pull energy from other people. You share energy, you exude energy, you transfer energy. Sometimes jokingly in certain programs, I tell people in Hindi, मैं आपके प्राण ले रहा हूँ. And some of them from the back say, genuinely आप वही कर रहे हो. But then what misunderstanding is there is, when I say pran le raha hu, if you're sitting doing nothing with your energy, be sure that I'm going to pull it out of you. Because I need that energy and I need to share it in the classroom or in the auditorium or wherever. Ladies and gentlemen, 11% of people had a great deal of energy. That's what they say. On the one hand, people responded, people understood the meaning, interactions, and energy. But look at the tragedy. All of them minority. If you look at the figures, pathetically low figures. Only 20% of people found meaning in their work. Only 16% of people felt that their interactions were positive. And only 11% of people led their life with energy worth talking about. Disturbing, distressing, extremely painful to look at. So what is it that people have been doing then? If they have come on earth, maybe to live once, I don't know. A lot of people say you live many times, but I really don't know. I'm not a great believer in life after death or life before you're born earlier or something like that. I really don't know. People say zindagi na milegi dobara. I don't know. Well, you're here to do something, might as well do something. And if it's going to be only 20% or 16% or 11%, what are the others doing? Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of people say, I pursue happiness. In fact, it became a very cold, very cool, very hot. You know, people are like Milton doing one job. Cool bhi hote hain, hot bhi hote hain. And there was a subject that was pretty cool. There was a subject which was pretty hot called The Pursuit of Happiness. Will Smith and happy ending with a Y. But honestly, if you ask me, I'll be very, very blunt. You don't pursue happiness. Happiness should probably be your constant companion in life. Happiness should want to travel with you. The pursuit of meaning in your life is probably what makes what makes life actually worthwhile, worth conducting or leading. Because if you keep pursuing meaning, happiness is likely to stay around you. A lot of things that you chase, money, for instance, a lot of people chase money. Doesn't always come to them, it eludes them at times. So if you make work a purpose and not just a place or an activity, I ask people, what work do you do? Well, my office is on CG Road, Navarampura, or Elgin Road, or Mount Road, or MI Road, or Connaught Place, or Mahatma Gandhi Road, or it's in that building, or this is what I do. What do you do? Oh, well, I'm a chartered financial analyst, or I'm a choreographer, or I'm a small businessman. I just don't like it when people say, I'm a small businessman. I coach business people. I coach standalone business people. I coach startups and small entrepreneurs also, apart from people in large organizations. And when somebody says, I run a small company, I feel bad. What do you mean when you run a small company? What do you want to do? Well, I want to make it a big company. So why do you say that? That I am in the business of growing my business. So if you make work a purpose, rather than just an address, a 10 to 8 kind of a thing, or a work that you do in a very limited sphere, you're really probably not finding meaning. Working for more than a living. Those of you who are connected with me on LinkedIn would have noticed that tagline. People make a living, I help to make lives. So that's probably one of the, or maybe the main purpose of my life. We'll share it, we'll probably discuss it. I'll probably help you in case you want, discover the meaning of life, all your life. But if you work for more than a living, pretty often I've been telling sales people, अगर पगार के लिए तुम सेल्स में आए तो भूल जाओ, कुछ भी नहीं बेच पाओगे. लेकिन अगर कस्टमर्स के प्रॉब्लम्स को समझ कर सॉल्व करने के बिजनेस में हो तो शायद फर्क पड़ेगा. और उससे भी ज्यादा अगर बहुत सारे मित्र बनाओगे जिनको बाय द वे हम कस्टमर कहते हैं, then you're probably making a lot of sense. When I got onto that Enfield Bullet on the 3rd of July 1979, and God ensured that the registration number of the bike was RSB3779. No, I did not grease the palms of anybody at the RTO. I just got that registration number on the date that I got the bike. The registration number coincided with it. And those 250,000 kilometers on the Enfield Bullet, meeting millions of people. I sold to some, I didn't sell to some. Those who gave me orders gave me business, and those who threw me out of their offices gave me lessons. And those lessons were worth more than the money that I earned. Those lessons were worth more than the promotions that I've got, the increments, the incentives, and the trophies. So why not look at working for more than a living and going beyond engagement? Now, when I use the word engagement, well, in a lighter way, when you go beyond engagement, you get married. Getting married to an organization, getting married to an assignment, or going beyond engagement is वो JD है ना, JD, उससे भी आगे जाइए. Go beyond that JD. मेरा जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन ये नहीं कहता कि मुझे देर से बैठना है. कभी कभी ठीक है अगर मुझे देर से उस दिन बैठना. I don't believe in burning midnight oil. There are various other oils that you can burn. But if you go beyond engagement, you're probably going to discover, if you take the road less traveled or the road not taken from a different program of mine called Beyond the Uncharted Landscape, where I tell people, if you take the road less taken by most other people, at least you won't find empty used bags of popcorn. You might find snakes and scorpions, but you may just find how the idea of how to make snake poison into something medicinal. You may discover something new. About a year and a half back, I moved to a different part of the world, moved out of Ahmedabad, went to a place called Oroville. That's where I'm talking to you from. And so we have snakes and we have various other kinds of animals and reptiles and birds. And believe me, I'm doing lots of things beyond working for a living. If you find a higher calling than cash, one pays in cash. Some people pay in kind, and some people pay in kindness. And pretty often, Some of my clients, some of my partners, some of my collaborators have been more than kind, have been more than expectedly kind, and the kindness has converted into a lot of useful things. Only yesterday, on my way back from Ranchi, spending just a few minutes in Chennai, I happened to bump into somebody and had a word with him. And I got to know this morning he called up and said, I think one of us didn't recognize you, taught me some 12 years back. And those lessons are imprinted. I consider this pretty more valuable than cash. Perhaps something that stops us from pursuing meaning or happiness is upward comparison. Always wanting to try and reach up to somewhere else. अगर मेरे पास इटियोस है तो मेरे पास वेंटो क्यों नहीं है, मेरे पास वेंटो है तो मेरे पास केमो क्यों नहीं है, मेरे पास जट्टा है तो मेरे पास पसाट क्यों नहीं है. I don't know why they give this kind of brand names which are so difficult to pronounce. But anyway, if I have a 4-bedroom house, why don't I have a 6-bedroom house? I don't have the kind of neighbors have a car. We only have a car. You remember that ad, don't you? When you avoid upward comparison and when you start looking at how you've grown over the last so many years, great experts say, don't look back. I say, keep looking back. You will be amazed and impressed and inspired by the amount of distance you actually traveled already. And life has only just begun. Avoid upward comparison. And the most important, I think, so if you are able to get a fix on this, my friends, you have it going. If you know what the world needs, what is it that in terms of solutions, issues, hopes, aspirations, goals, worries, challenges, obstacles, people are prevented, community is prevented, or groups of people are prevented, or organizations are prevented from meeting their goals or fulfilling their desires, if you know what is the hitch, and if you happen to be good at sorting out some of those issues, oh, you have it made. In the next couple of slides, I'm probably going to tell you about certain communities of people who work all day and all night only looking at this, as to what the world needs, and what is it that I'm good at, and what is it that I can do. So not falling into the default. See, between being born and between dying, between being born and dying, there are many, many moments. If we can fall into the trap of ignoring those moments or not feeling those moments or celebrating every such moment, it's entirely up to you. Leading your life by design, designing your life. I've been thinking about this for some time. All kinds of design programs. There's nobody who has made a program called Designing Your Life. I wonder if you would be interested. The pursuit of meaning. How about casting a shadow instead of living in one? We all enjoy living in people's shadows. We're impressed by people, we have role models. But I am not going to talk about role models. You may have a role model that you want to get inspired by. But why not become one? Why do you have to stand in someone's shadow? Someone went around saying, I want to be the best in this business. A little rectification, a little modification to that thought was, why do you have to be the best in that business? Why not appear, come across, do, demonstrate, feel, sound, and look as if you're the only guy who can do this? There's something you need to sit down and introspect and figure out what is it that you do remarkably well that sleep, hunger, exhaustion, thirst doesn't prevent you from focusing on that, and you get up only when you have sorted things out. Of course, I'll give you an idea as to how you can use your energy to do that. But be busy creating shadows rather than putting yourself in one of them. Now they say that if you craft your dream into your job, now all I am trying to say is, you have a dream, you have a passion, you enjoy doing things. If you can make that your job, become your own boss or work for someone, but write as if nobody can write like you, or you actually write like an angel. I mean, Jawaharlal Nehru used to say this about Frank Morris, the great journalist. He drinks like a fish and writes like an angel. Or play the guitar like nobody else does. When we began our careers in the late 70s, I guess it was unimaginable that you could make a career out of a pair of boxing gloves or a cricket bat. Today, everything is possible. If you have wonderfully nimble feet and you can move around on the dance floor, well, you have it coming. Great, absolutely. I remember a youngster once coming and telling me at the end of a program, well, what if my passion doesn't give me job security? And my answer was, if that doesn't give you job security, it's not a passion, it's just a fashion. Don't worry. Don't worry at all. In 6 months, it'll be over. You will find something new. People take up goals. People have New Year resolutions. And my favorite New Year greeting is, wish you a very happy New Year. May your troubles last as long as your New Year resolutions, because that's what happens to New Year resolutions. If you will initiate to shape the future, take those first steps. Don't worry about the entire length of the staircase. As long as you can get the first step, the second step, and the third step, you'll find all the steps. The problem with a lot of people is they try to look too much into the future and say, but ये तो दिखाई देता ही नहीं, ऐसा कैसे होगा? When I kicked the bike, and I barely knew how to kick the bike that time, though I had a dream that I must ride it. When I kicked the bike, my first tour to a town called Ajmer from Jaipur, 131 kilometers to be precise, shouldn't have taken a little over 3 hours because only a bike on a bad road and you stop at a midway place to have a cup of tea. Should have taken me over 3 hours. It took me 8 hours because I was still struggling with the controls of the bike. But if I were asked to do the same thing today, I guess the entire road is clearly visible. It's also become a better road. It's about taking the first few steps. I never imagined that I would be sitting like this talking to you. I never imagined that I'd be telling stories about travel or customers, about business, about sales, about creating markets. Take the first step. As long as you have some idea as to what you want to do. And put purpose before busyness. You can see the spelling of busy. Business. People appear to be busy all the time. Oh my God, the number of people who say, can I get back to you tomorrow? Can I tell you this on Monday? Can you give me some time? You know, I am a little tied up. They come to the office, they appear busy. They go home, they appear busy with work. So one of my Rangaisms in the last few weeks was, are people really as busy as they show? Or am I the only one who has no work really? Are you appearing to be busy? Or are you being purposeful? In my time management programs where I share my 5-4-2-1 formula, I tell people, as long as you're taking care of the 5s and the 4s, the 2s shall get done in the 1s. You can have a lovely look at the list of things you said you will do and you didn't do, because the main thing is the main thing. And life is not about managing time where you manage only a few things. You manage a hell of a lot of things in a day. But the biggest problem is people talk about prioritizing their schedule, whereas I say you should schedule your priorities and forget everything else. Which is what I mean by focusing on less to do more. You don't have to be all over the place. You don't have to be seen everywhere. You don't have to have every written word of yours read, every spoken word of yours heard, and everything that you've done seen or noticed. Well, there are times when people ask, a lot of people listen to you or read you. What about those who don't? What can I do about it? 2 minutes silence for them and let me carry on with what I do. As long as I can do those 3 or 4 things that matter to me in a day, and I do them very well to my heart's content and to my own happiness, I think I'm doing fine. But that is the pursuit of meaning. You don't have to be everything to everybody. Even the rules of marketing, positioning, etc., say that you can't be everything to everybody. Are you everything to somebody? Or something to everybody? Or something to somebody? Think about it. There was this Russian, if I'm not mistaken, professor who came up with this wonderful theory of, he would ring a bell just before feeding a dog the food. Over a period of time, the dog started associating the bell with food and the dog started salivating. लार टपकने लगा, भूख लगने लगी, खाना खाने को दिल करता था, घंटी बजती थी हर बार. Until one time that Pavlov would ring the bell, but the food was not given and the dog would salivate. Every time the phone rings, every time the SMS message or the WhatsApp message or the Twitter, this, that, my God, 110 times that we open our mobile phones every day. Words during sales closing or financial year ending and those kind of things. When are we giving ourselves time to actually focus on the pursuit of meaning? Are we allowing every little... Do you have to read everything everyone has written on social media? Not really. Think about it. Where does meaning lie? Keep your mission in mind. The way Apollo would have done, setting a man on the moon. John Kennedy makes an announcement in the early 60s of the presidential campaign. And by the end of the decade, as he had promised, they put a man on the moon. Single-minded focus of a group of people like NASA. What is your mission? Even as I talk to you, are you making a note somewhere as to what is your mission? And that is what brings me to this. What is your reason for being? You all know about it. I don't have to go into it in great detail, but I just thought I should share it with you. Ikigai. The Japanese concept of ikigai, which French philosopher would call a raison d'etre. People have found their ikigai. Some are looking, some are in the process of finding it out. It's nothing but something that is hidden deep down inside you. Of course, it requires a patient search. And according to those born in Okinawa in Japan, the island with the most centenarians, the longest living people are in certain parts of the world. A certain corner of Italy, a certain corner of Japan, in a couple of the Scandinavian countries. Ikigai is nothing but, to put it very simply, the reason that you get up in the morning, the reason that makes you roll out of bed saying, chalo, let's get on with it. And nothing but very simple. When you look at right at the north and the south, what do you love? And then to the left, what are you good at? And then to the right, what does the world need? And what is it that even you do as you love and you accomplish it, you get paid for it. And if you're damn good at it, you are going to get paid damn well for it. All it requires is passion, a mission that makes you go in that direction, and of course, convert it into a profession or a vocation. This is not my concept at all. I was pretty impressed when I read about Ikigai. And I've been trying to share this idea with people. Some of them were connected with me. I'm a coach to some of these people. And I tell them, come on, let's sit down and figure out what's it that we really, let's really sit down and figure it out. Because एक बार ये कर लिया हमें और कुछ करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है भाई. Robert Schuller, the famous author of the book, Tough Times Never Last, but Tough People Do, Dr. Robert Schuller, says, goals are not only absolutely necessary to motivate us, they are essential to really keep us alive. If you don't have a goal, you're probably not living enough or living well enough. Maya Angelou, you all know her, very famous figure. Because of our routines, we forget that life is an ongoing adventure. Yes, I always tell people to write down their 5s and 4s and 2s and 1, but the delight that they have when they say, I wrote so many 1s and I didn't care to follow it. I did not follow those 1s because I was busy focusing on the 5s and the 4s. The sheer delight of looking at a list of things that you never wanted to do. You wrote it down and you were delighted that you didn't end up focusing on the things that you never wanted to do. Most of us know our strengths but focus on our weaknesses, whereas the need is to know our weaknesses and focus on our strengths. which brings us to interactions and making every interaction count, which brings us to the idea of beginning any interaction with a good intent. Assume that both of you are on the same platform. Assume that your intentions are good. Assume that it's a neutral kind of environment. इससे मुझे क्या मिलेगा? ये आदमी क्या जानता होगा? इसका विजिटिंग कार्ड बड़ा पतला है. इसका विजिटिंग कार्ड बड़ा छोटा है. Which is why I went and made the world's smallest visiting card for myself with hardly anything written on it. What do I think? Focus on the frequency of the interaction. The problem with many of us is we go and ask prospective customers, so wasn't your office in some other building last time? He says, no, we've always been here. You probably have forgotten the way आप हमारा रास्ता भूल गए. Using positive words as glue. Instead of saying, I won't fall ill, can you say, I'm going to be healthy? Instead of saying, I won't lose my temper, can you say, I shall remain happy or even tempered? Instead of saying, I am going to fall ill if I don't work out, say, by maintaining a healthy lifestyle, I'm going to be happy. Can you do that? Can you do that for a week and then for a month and then for a year and then all your life? Instead of saying, I won't use cuss words, say, I'm going to make sure that I use healthy words. Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk of interaction, we talk of monologues. The world is now full of monologues. Everybody is raving and ranting and spewing venom, spoken, written, body language, speech, wherever. Can you take a break and pay attention? Can you at least pay attention? People say that the human attention span is dwindling day by day by day. And one day it's going to compete with that of a goldfish. And goldfish cannot focus for more than 8 seconds. When I last did some research, I was told 22 to 21 seconds is the attention span of an average human. Which really means that by the time I finish saying this sentence, you people have switched off. So what are you saying? How are you saying it? 7% of words matter. 38% of the tone, the pitch, the volume, the intonation. But 55% is the body language. Are you making all that count in your interactions? There is a reason for it. If you have a purpose, you need to convey it all around, isn't it? How are you going to convey it? How are you going to add meaning to your life and meaning to other people's lives if you're going to be purposeful and putting your ideas across to the others? Do you use intelligent, issue-based questions to spark conversations, or is it mundane? That you say, hi, how are you? Like typically in Ahmedabad, Kem Cho, and you ask Kem Cho and you're looking in a different direction. As if Kem Cho is just a statement that has to be made rather than a question being asked. Sparking conversations, mind these 2 words, ladies and gentlemen, not talking. During interaction, can you ensure, even if it's a spoken interaction, a business deal, a wordy duel, a kushti in a competition, can you win while others succeed? What is the point, as my book Beyond the Uncharted Landscape asks, what is the point in reaching the top of the summit alone with nobody to celebrate with? What is the point of winning the marketplace if your competition is not also having a drink with you? Oh, you can. If you expand the market, everybody wins. If you make the size of the pizza better and you take the same 1 slice that you always did, you still have a bigger pizza, don't you? Can you help someone see what could be my favorite words written in front of my workspace? Help someone see what could be, because they probably are not able to see what could be. And the other one, of course, if it is to be, it is up to me. Developing the ultimate strength in you to pass it on to the other person so that the interaction actually leaves a very, very strong impression on the other person. When I use the word interaction, I'm not just referring to a 10-minute talk with somebody or a conversation. It could be working together in organizations. It could be working with your neighbors. It could be playing a game with your friend. When we come to energy, put your own health first. Sounds extremely selfish, doesn't it? And energy, ladies and gentlemen, is what is going to drive you. Not today. I tell a lot of youngsters, you are so young, you're so energetic, everything is fine. You're doing perfectly well. But when you are my age, how would you like to feel? One of the pities of life, ladies and gentlemen, one of the sad ironies of life is you get bigger jobs, tougher jobs, crazier jobs, but far better paid jobs as you get older. Unfortunately, nobody begins his career as a CEO and retires as a frontliner. So good it would have been that way because you have no worries, no physical worries, no mental worries, no emotional worries, no spiritual or financial pressures. But that isn't how it is. As you keep getting older, as your family grows, as your kids grow up, is when you're going to get those bigger and tougher and more tricky jobs. It's not about what you do when you are 23. It's about what you do when you are 23 to ensure that even at 46 or 54 or 65, you still have that kind of energy. People are getting to live longer lives. Medicine, technology, various things ensure that the word retiring at 60 is gone out of the window. People don't retire, they retire. Maybe a fresh tire, maybe fresh treads. When you put your own health first, it's better to use short-term thinking for better health. If I want to work out and I say, if I'm healthy, I'm going to live long and I'm going to be very, very healthy all my life, it doesn't really motivate me to get up in the morning and do something. But if I say, my day depends on how it begins. So ladies and gentlemen, instead of long-term thinking, short-term thinking, if my breakfast is good, I'll probably not going to get angry in the middle of the day. Learning to walk before you run. I'm getting a constant message on my screen. Ladies and gentlemen, can any one of you quickly tell me that you're able to hear me and that you're able to see the presentation?
Yes, sir.
Someone is disturbing me by sending a message on my screen requesting remote control of my screen. What is that?
Sir, it is, I think some participant may be requesting that, but otherwise we have not requested anything, sir.
All right. I have declined it and I sincerely hope the gentleman understands what I'm trying to do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He is going on and I'm trying to be even tempered because I don't want to lose my temper. Here is
Participant maybe by mistake on the mobile, maybe there's some problem, so maybe touch screen. So maybe that might be issue.
totally all right. Okay, Radhika, not to worry. Eating your way to a better day. That's what I meant. If you've had a good breakfast and your lunch is okay and your dinner is okay and you've had your 8 or 10 or 12 or 15 glasses of water, if every day you just clear about what you want to do, you actually have a wonderful day and then you make a habit out of it. Things take time to form. Now, being ruthless about the oxygen mask. I'm not talking about your corona mask, ladies and gentlemen. In an aircraft, the air hostess announces, due to a fall in cabin pressure, individual oxygen mask will drop down automatically. Pull the mask to your face, pull it to your nose, and breathe normally. If you're accompanied by a senior citizen or infants, please ensure that you pull the mask to your face first and then worry about them. Quite simply, ladies and gentlemen, our good nature would want us to help those people and make them feel good. But remember, what can an infant or a senior citizen do if you need to be lifted and carried out of the aircraft? So, being selfish when it comes to energy is an extremely important thing to do. Fighting light, heat, and noise. What does it mean? Looking at the computer screen only when you desperately have to. Switching on electrical equipment only when you desperately need to. Being part of noise only when you desperately need to. One reason for shifting to audible. One reason for staying in audible even before. Oh God, I think somebody has taken charge of my remote and pushing my presentation, Radhika, even before I can do something. Ladies and gentlemen, are you noticing the screen is moving very fast?
Sir, somebody has taken your control or what, sir?
Yes, I don't know how it has happened. And we have moved on to the next page. They've expanded the screen.
1 second, 1 second.
Are you noticing?
1 second, sir. You can stop your sharing and then share it again, sir. Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that. Yes, there's somebody called James, and I think James should be very politely told to stop doing it, or he can go to a more interesting place in Ahmedabad or wherever. James, stop fiddling. What? We have a boxer here. I just saw him on the screen. He is pummeling me. He is boxing away to glory. Radhika, is it possible for the admin to very nicely eject somebody from this room? Yeah, I agree with what Jaideep is writing. Can we take this user off? Okay, anyway, I think he seems to have disappeared. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize on James's behalf. But
I think there would be somebody, some hacker or something, I don't know, but we have put him off, sir.
मैंने जिंदगी में पहली बार किसी
I myself have seen this first time, sir. First time in my 9 months webinar.
Don't worry, Radhika, don't worry. Everything is fine. I'm back to where I was. Relax.
It's okay. Okay, sir. I have removed him from the meeting.
Great, wonderful. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, sorry about this little break. Second-hand stress. I've heard people say when two people are arguing, the guy butts in and says, "Is this a public quarrel or is it a private quarrel? Can I participate?" No, I know people don't go and ask this. But ladies and gentlemen, is there something that you need not get into? It's needless. Yeah, if it's something about the security of your country or your family, yes. But why are we bothered about so many things that happen? That saps your energy. Think about it. And before you respond to people, I would have been tempted to, 20 years back, I would have been tempted to respond to James and use colorful language. But just because my name is Rangaswamy, I don't have to use colorful language. I just press the pause button. And as told by you, Radhika, I just turned off my presentation and brought it back again. Ladies and gentlemen, when you reply promptly, very quickly, almost at the drop of a hat to somebody, try it out. It sounds a little rude. When you pause and respond, you sound as if you have paid a lot of importance to the other person. A smile goes a long way in preventing energy sapping quarrels, arguments, and discussions. So creating a positive charge. I am going to go through this fast because I'm keen actually to listen to questions. What you have and you think is your most precious resource is what you must share with people. Don't worry about the question of, वो मेरे से आगे निकल जाएगा, मेरे से smart हो जाएगा. नहीं होगा. If you have 20 stories to tell and you share those 20 stories, by the time he begins sharing those stories, you have another 30 odd experiences. Don't forget, every moment is a 3-second moment, and you have millions of them that you can talk about. And doing good for a life well lived is something as simple as, if you can do one good thing every day in the direction of your purpose, I think you are well in place. Responding with resiliency, something that we did right now instead of raving and ranting and losing our temper. Because when you want to create positivity, just be you. Know what fuels your fire. I've already talked about this earlier in Ikigai. And of course, remember, Champions don't happen overnight. Muhammad Ali used to call himself, I am the greatest, even before he realized that he was the greatest, or the world realized. When they asked him, what do you mean by this, I am the greatest? He said, I don't know, I just said that. And one day I went on to win the World Heavyweight Boxing Championship, and I regained it, and I retained it for a very long time. Expanding your reach, whatever you're good at, if you can spread it out into the world, if you can ensure that with every ripple, you reach out to more people, change their life, touch their lives, make them feel good, listen, empathize, assure, and demonstrate. And that's the way to create positivity. Ladies and gentlemen, before I close, I always ask myself these three questions, and I want you to ask yourselves these three questions. What's your favorite prayer? My favorite prayer for you, and I wish all of you this prayer, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. ईश्वर मुझे सांत्वना दे और सहन शक्ति दे कि जो मैं बदल नहीं सकता उनको समझूं, जो बदल सकता हूं उनके लिए ताकत और धैर्य दे, और उन दोनों के बीच में जो अंतर है उसे समझने के लिए अकल दे. What's your favorite prayer, ladies and gentlemen? Think about it. And if it guides you in this particular direction, well, that's wonderful. When the third umpire of life declares you run out and you're lying there, will people talk about you for 2 minutes? Will people spare 2 minutes apart from writing RIP? In any case, RIP, ladies and gentlemen, my gift, and I wish you all RIP. Now, don't hate me for it. Don't use cuss words. For me, RIP is what I've been telling people right through the lockdown. R is for reflect, I is for introspect, and P is for prepare for better times and for a better life. As long as you're reflecting on what's happening around you, as long as you're focusing on what are your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, your threats, and use it to introspect and make the world a better place, well, you're preparing to live a life of purpose. And if somebody tells me very clearly, as my doctor does, कि भैया 1 मार्च 2020 तुम्हारे जिंदगी 2022 तुम्हारे जिंदगी का आखिरी दिन है. Ladies and gentlemen, a very simple question to each one of you. Are you going to lead your life the same way as you're leading it right now, or will you lead it differently? Think about it. Because if you say you're wanting to lead it differently, my question, I'm not angry, I'm curious, what have you been doing so far? And so go ahead. If you found the answers, go out there, lead the life that you always wanted to lead. Don't worry about temporary setbacks. Have a plan, put it to work, but don't do it like a machine because you're a human being. Don't become tense because people who are tense sure become past tense. People who live in tension are now ready for a pension. Sorry for the PJs. And just in case you need my help, this is where you can reach me. On YouTube, or Facebook, or Twitter, or Instagram, or LinkedIn. कभी कभी मैं काम कर लेता हूं. Ladies and gentlemen, I thoroughly enjoyed talking to you all. I know it's a very brief thing, and living with a purpose can be a very intense subject. Maybe sometime we can have a nice long 3-hour interaction on this. If you feel like it, you can always tell Ahmedabad Management Association. I know Radhika is listening. I know Mr. Nair will be happy to hear about it. We can work out something. But in the meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy if you have questions, and I'll be very happy to take them. Thanks very much. Wish you a very purposeful life.
Thank you very much, sir. It was a wonderful motivational power-packed program with the end of the February with a lot of good insights. So there is one question from one gentleman, of course, first of all, he is appreciating the webinar, very valuable takeaways. And he wanted to ask that in today's world, we are surrounded by so much negativity, hatred, harsh words, trolls, and so much of pressure. So how to deal practically with this situation, sir?
Was I talking all this while about how to theoretically deal with this discussion? Well, I guess, see, no day is going to be the same. Each day is going to be different. People have bad hair days. I don't have bad hair days because I don't have too many hair in any case. So I don't allow that to happen. But the point is, there are going to be ups and downs. अभी जो prayer share किया, why can't we look at it as some kind of a guide, some kind of a lamppost for that? That there are certain things you can do. I'll give you a small example. We were leaving. I was leaving for Ranchi Sunday morning. And a flight to catch. I needed to drive down to Chennai from Oroville and then take a flight, go to Delhi, go from Delhi to Ranchi, get into Ranchi by night, and the next 2 days, hectic programs. But even before anything, I said, Kal subah pack karo. I'll back on Sunday morning. And Sunday morning, very heavy rain right through Saturday night and no electricity. So I packed whatever I could in whichever way possible. And then I was about to curse the rain. And then I told myself, I live in a coastal town. We really haven't gone too far away from the monsoons. And so the thought that occurred to me was, तुम्हारा favorite prayer क्या बोलता है? जो चीज मैं बदल नहीं सकता उसके बारे में सोचो मत. जो चीज मैं बदल सकता हूं उसके लिए कुछ करो. So if you live in a town where the monsoon hits pretty often or pretty hard, do you have an umbrella or raincoat? You can do nothing about a delayed aircraft or a train that's taking a longer while to come to your station. Can you carry a book? Can you read? Can you catch your sleep? Can you do something useful? Now, I think what is extremely important is dissect this into 3 parts. कुछ चीजें आप कर सकते हो, कंट्रोल में हो, करो. Instead of cribbing about what you can't do, can you focus on what you can? There are a million things you can. अगर दिन में वही, instead of waiting for some great thing to happen in one day, there are small, very small, little events happening every moment. Can you cherish them? I was in Ranchi the other day and we had an event. We were celebrating the empowerment of underprivileged women, rewarding them, bringing them on the platform with a lot of senior people and things like that. I felt every moment, I said, each of these women, it must be a red letter day for each of these women. And I said, हमको भी तो उनकी दुआएं मिल रही होंगी. It was not a meeting that I had to attend. It was a meeting that I loved to attend. So it's a question of shifting your focus a little bit, my friend. I wonder if I've answered your question. I hope I have. Everything takes time. You need to practice it. So that was Anuj Bhatia who asked this question.
Yes.
Right. And in case you have any issue, you know where to reach me.
Yes. And can we take one last question, sir, to end up?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
The next question is that, in many people are getting downsized because of this current COVID scenario and restructuring, and the economy and the job market is slowly limping back to normalcy. But what is your advice for such people? How can we give hope to such people known to us?
I will repeat what I said just a little while ago. RIP. Reflect. Think. Scenario क्या है? What is happening? Is 80% of what is happening bothering me or 20% of what is happening bothering me? Reflect. Look at the situation. Understand it. Don't get overly emotional about it. Look at it objectively if you can. Distance yourself from it. Fortunately, I could, Radhika, I'm in a place where social distancing need to be talked about. We are only 3 people in about 500 meters. So we never really had to worry about all that. And I had an opportunity to sit at home and think about a lot of things. Be online, be very actively online and things like that. Now, if you reflect and look at what is the situation. Number 2, apply it to yourself. Yes, there are issues that I cannot do right now. There are things I can. What can I learn from this situation? How can I find a way? Again, go back to Ikigai. What am I good at? What is it that the world needs? In fact, this is the best time for people. I'm not biased. People are going to say I'm biased. This is the best time for you to be in sales because people need products. And if you're a salesperson with empathy, you're going to succeed because इस वक्त दुनिया में सबसे जरूरी चीज है कि कोई और आए और कहे चिंता मत करो मैं हूं ना. When someone says मुश्किल दिन है, मंदी है, कोविड है, कल हो ना हो, you should say मैं हूं ना, so that the other guy says चलो कोई मिल गया. Now don't make me take names of more movies, because I believe somebody else wants to ask one last question. Somebody called Vikas, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Mr. Vivek. Yeah, Mr. Vivek, please go ahead. Please, we'll take this last question, sir. Yeah, quickly. Yeah. Mr. Vivek, please put it in the chat box. Or I think I'll just give you the rights to unmute yourself. You please ask it. Yeah, please go ahead. Mr. Vivek.
Hello, sir. Can we worry about some person that if we can't change their, हम अगर किसी को बदल नहीं सकते, अगर किसी में चेंज लाना चाहते हैं, तो अगर वो चेंज नहीं हो रहा तो हमें वरी करना चाहिए कि नहीं करना चाहिए उसके फ्यूचर के लिए?
ये आपके ऊपर है मेरे मित्र कि मैं किसके बारे में चिंता करूं, वो मैं कैसे बता सकता हूं. उसका कारण है आप हो, मैं हूं, है ना. अब आप ये कहते हैं कि मैं उसको बदल ही नहीं सकता हूं. ओनली थिंग इज, ये स्टेटमेंट बोलने से पहले अगर आप क्लियर हो कि इस आदमी को बदला नहीं जा सकता है, होता है. देयर आर सर्टेन पीपल हु probably have a particular point of view. You can try. देखो ऐसा है ना कि मैं सोशल रिफॉर्मर तो हूं नहीं, मुझे मेरी जिंदगी बितानी है, हो सके तो लोगों की मदद करनी है. लेकिन if someone is beyond redemption, what can you do about it? What is stress? What is second hand stress जो मैं बता रहा था. जब आप अलाउ करते हो किसी और के पागलपन को या किसी और के स्टूपिडिटी को अपने ऊपर हावी हो जाने के लिए, वही तो स्ट्रेस है. Now, do you want stress or do you want to keep stress at bay? Entirely up to you. Stress is not what happens to you, my friend. Stress is what happens when you react to something that happens to you. That's what it is. I hope you got the answer. Quick question, quick answer.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. I think participants also enjoyed this session. So much interaction. Lovely lecture, sir. So on behalf of AMA and the entire team of AMA and Mr. Nair, I thank you very much, sir, for sparing time and addressing the audience on this such a motivational and timely lecture, sir. Because people are now getting back to their jobs, getting out from the depression, how to get that from out of depression. Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks very
And
much.
thank you all the participants for staying so much for online and listening to the talk and asking relevant questions. Thank you.
Thanks very much. All the
Okay, sir. Bye, sir. Hope to see you soon in AMA once again with the seminar, sir.
Absolutely. Chalo, I'll go.
Okay. Bye, sir. Good night, everybody. Take care. Stay safe and looking forward to your participation in future webinars.